Hey everybody, welcome back to Cool Stuff Etc. My name is Riley, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a movie haul. Got a good stack here from the past week or so of things that came in the mail or things that I got at Disc Replay or what have you. So why don't we just jump into it? It's just a random assortment of things that I've looked at and bought and all that good stuff. So here we go. Starting out with Once Upon a Time in Mexico. This is a Robert Rodriguez film. It's part of that trilogy. I believe it's called the Mexico Trilogy. I don't know if this is the first or the third movie in the trilogy. Actually, I thought it was the first, but I think it might be the last one, actually. But regardless, I was excited to find this because I do have Desperado on DVD. They just seem really interesting. It is kind of weird, like on the rack, like it looks like this, like when it was on the rack at Disc Replay, which is where I got these first ones from. It just didn't have anything on the side, so that was like intriguing, and I picked it off and was surprised that this was it. So yeah, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, haven't seen it, but I am looking forward to it. I should mention that these first 9 films are from Disc Replay because they have at the one I go to at least anyways, it has a buy 3 get 6 free. So for like $10 you get 9 movies, which is pretty crazy. But 7 Psychopaths on DVD. This is a Martin McDonagh film. I have seen In Bruges and I have not seen this. And I was excited to find this too because I've been looking for this and didn't know quite where to watch it. So I know this is kind of like a dark comedy type thing, very similar to In Bruges in tone, but maybe a bit more, I don't know, a bit more involved in terms of the idea, I guess, but excited to watch this. We'll be doing that soon. Suspect Zero. This was another one that I was surprised was there. It's kind of, it's one of those like serial killer movies like Silence of the Lambs or Seven, where they're kind of like tracking down a serial killer type thing. Which I'm totally into. What made me interested in this movie is the director is E. Elias Mirhij. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. But if you're not familiar with that name, they directed this very well-known, I guess kind of obscure, but pretty well-known if you're into like weird experimental films. Begotten, which is like a very artsy, strange, you might call it a horror film, possibly. And I just find it so fascinating that a director who made that movie could go on to make kind of a bigger budget, Hollywood film. So I just was curious to see what this looked like. And the premise sounds interesting as well. It's about this guy hunting down a serial killer who is the suspect zero, kind of like patient zero. So like kind of like the origin of evil in a sense. So yeah, it sounds super interesting. So we'll see how it is. I am on a quest to buy and watch all of the Mission Impossible films before the new one comes out. It's a series that I am like somewhat interested in. They're of all the big budget action films that are made nowadays, I think that these movies interest me more than anything else. And I've never seen Mission Impossible 2 before, and it is a John Woo film. I know John Woo is quite a well-renowned action director, and I've never seen any of his films. So maybe this is a good place to start. So I'm glad to have found this, and also Mission Impossible 3, which I have seen before a long, long time ago when I was like a kid, probably. And I remember this one being pretty cool, too. Philip Seymour Hoffman is the villain in this, and I mean, he's great, rest in peace. Such a phenomenal actor. And this might be the first one with Ving Rhames in it, and I think he's just super cool too, so I love him in these movies. So yeah, I think I'm excited to do this. I hope I can find the other 3 movies and watch them before the new one comes out. Another nostalgic film for me is King Kong, the Peter Jackson remake. I didn't remember that this was 3 hours long. When I was a kid, I'm surprised that I sat through this. And I don't, I will say that I don't know if I have total nostalgia for the movie. I did watch the movie several times when I was younger. What I mostly had nostalgia for was the PS2 game, which is like so much better than you would expect it to be. Like, it's actually a phenomenal survival horror type game. So good, like unbelievably good. I want to play that game more. Go back and play the game again because it's phenomenal. But yeah, the movie I remember being pretty cool too. So I'm actually excited to revisit this because it's been a long time. So, ooh, Little Miss Sunshine. If you've not seen this, it is a great family comedy drama. Super funny. Just great acting, great writing. Kind of from that independent film era, you know. It's a good one. I think this is near a perfect film for the genre that it's in. Yeah, just a great movie. Everyone's so good in it. So many great moments. Fifth Element, a somewhat classic, I would say. I mean, maybe nowadays it is classic. I don't know how people feel about it, but it is, in my opinion, it is a classic of sci-fi. You know, you don't get a whole ton of sci-fi movies that kind of are like this, where it's like a huge, what am I trying to say? It's like the whole civilization, the whole society is like totally reimagined. It's an entirely new world, you know, and there's so much effort put into all the different aliens and all the different technology and stuff. And I mean, I'm sure it's dated by nowadays standards in terms of the effects and whatever, but that never really bothers me too bad. So I think that this is well worth a watch if you've not seen it before, and I'm excited to rewatch it sometime soon. Another Tom Cruise film. This is the last one from Disc Replay. Minority Report. I have not seen this, but I am reading some Philip K. Dick novels. Or I should say I'm reading one right now. I'm reading A Scanner Darkly. And so I just want to kind of like experience his work more. I find his writing and his ideas, his stories very, very interesting. He's a super talented author as well, just like a great writer of prose. So I'm excited to see this and kind of form an opinion about it. I didn't know Steven Spielberg directed it, which is that's pretty cool too. So we'll give it a shot. All right, this next one I found at a record store in Ferndale called Found Sound, which I had discovered while shopping downtown with my fiance. And really cool store. I want to go back soon because it just was awesome. And they had a small movie section, and they in that small movie section they had an even smaller horror section. And in that small horror section, I found The Hills Have Eyes. This is a double disc edition. So there's one disc with, you know, special features and whatnot. Yeah, super stoked to have found this. This is probably, aside from Scream, this is probably my favorite Wes Craven film. It's I mean, it's a classic for a reason, and it's kind of in the same vein in terms of theming and story, I guess, too, in a sense, of The Last House on the Left, which is also by him, but I just despise that movie. But this movie is wonderful. It's been a long time, not a long time, it's been a couple years since I've seen it, but it really made an impact on me when I first watched it. You know, yeah, I don't know, nothing else to say about that, but just check it out if you haven't seen it. It's kind of brutal, so if you're not, you know, if you're not comfortable with that, with certain things happening, then maybe don't watch this movie, but I think it's worth a watch. I have not seen the remake, but I'm actually hoping to watch those because I'm interested in those as well. The director of at least of the first remake is a director that I typically enjoy movies from. I despised Piranha 3D, but beside the point. Anyways, these next ones are all from, what is it called? Grindhouse Releasing, which is a store in Knoxville. So I bought these four. I think they're all four Blu-rays. I bought these last week sometime, and they came in, and I was super stoked to find them. You know, I wasn't. Most of these are like one left in stock, and I jumped on it. So this first one is a German film. I believe it's German at least, It's called Der Samurai, or translated, I believe it's just The Samurai. And this movie is phenomenal. I don't know how low budget it is, or how, like, you know, it doesn't seem like it's certainly not a big studio film or anything of that nature, but it kind of feels like low budget sensibilities, but the style and the way they film it makes it feel like kind of a bigger studio film, or like it had, you know, not that it's a bigger studio film, but that it had a bigger budget than you would expect this kind of movie to have. Basically, the story is that there's this police officer in a small German town, and there's this person who has a samurai sword, the titular samurai, who's just going around this small village and you know, chopping dudes down and stuff. But the real draw to me of this movie, makes this movie special, is the exploration of sexuality and gender, and which is kind of, you wouldn't expect that from this cover necessarily, or this title, but it really explores it in an interesting way. I think it's shot wonderfully. I think it's acted well as well. Maybe I should open it up so you can see inside of it. I don't know if there's anything special or not, but it's just a really cool movie. And I just found it on Shudder, watched it one day, and was honestly blown away. I think everyone should give this a try. It's only 79 minutes too, so it's like the perfect runtime for what it is. Yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about this. I really want to rewatch this soon. Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. I mean, Hellraiser is a classic. This is the last of the sequels, of the like 13 sequels to this movie that I have seen. I have not seen anything past this. I don't know if I have a desire to, because I know they can be kind of messy, but maybe if I just like feel like throwing something on that's just kind of stupid, I might one day, you know, watch more of these. But this movie's phenomenal too. I don't know if it's quite as good as the first one. The first one is a total classic to me, but this movie has a really interesting premise. It takes things farther than the first movie did in terms of exploration of the Cenobites and their lore, and, you know, where they come from and that sort of thing, which maybe some people would argue that it's kind of taking away from the mystery that they had. Sorry, I'm shaking the table. The mystery that they had, and the kind of, you know, mystique, I guess is a better word. But I don't really mind that, and I think it's like nearly as good as the first movie, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm really glad to have this on Blu-ray, and we're gonna probably watch this at the Halloween movie marathon this year. So if you're going to that, stay tuned. Terrifier. This is just kind of a slasher, creepy clown movie. A lot of people love it. I just picked it up because of that. I have not seen it. And it's kind of funny, when we were at the movies today, my fiance and I, and we saw a trailer. They're putting this back in theaters, so I might watch this, and then I might take my friends to the showing. We'll have to see where, I guess we'll have to see if it's showing around here, but yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I've heard it's pretty brutal. There's some pretty crazy stuff going on in this movie, so I don't know. We'll have to see how it is. And lastly, we have Resurrection, another Shudder thing that I watched on Shudder. There's even an ad in here for Shudder. This movie blew my expectations out of the water. I was intrigued by the idea. You know, the premise is that there's this mother who's kind of living a life where she's hiding this creepy weird guy, from the fact that she knew this creepy weird guy from her daughter, and then he like reappears in her life, and yeah, it just goes off the rails from there. I have nothing. You just need to watch the movie. The reason I bought these other ones in the same, the reason I was on that site looking for movies to buy was because the night that I watched this, I went and purchased it immediately as soon as I could find it, because it was just that good. I think this is such a phenomenal special film. Rebecca Hall is amazing. I need to finish The Night House. I started it and I fell asleep, not because it was boring, but just because it was late. So I need to start the movie over and finish it, because she's, I mean, if her performance is anything like this movie, she needs to be in every horror movie going forward. She's so good. And Tim Roth isn't a slouch either, but she really steals the show. Yeah, if you have not seen this, get a Shudder subscription and watch this, or buy it on Blu-ray if you want. It's phenomenal. So, all right, that's everything. I hope that wasn't too much. or I wasn't too rambly, but I probably was, so whatever. That's just who I am. Yeah, all right. Take care. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.